People must never see fear in you. People must never see weakness in you. When you're a gangster, you're a frontliner. And because he couldn't predict what I was going to do, he gave me the keys. You must put the fear of the Lord in people. You must be feared. Feared for what you can do. In this video, we would be talking about why you need a backbone when you're an entrepreneur running a business and not just business plans. My name is Belsabo of Belsabo Consultants, and here we love all things wellness, all things success, and those are the conversations that we like to have. In today's conversation, I just want to tell you that you should be a gangster. Become like a gangster. Very controversial, I know. There's some people who are like, oh my God, are you encouraging criminality? No. Being a gangster is not about being a criminal. It's about being tactical. Get that right. I'll give you a backstory of what happened to me recently. Working on a project for some clients of mine, and we're on site, and we hired somebody, a contractor, a guy who pays to come and pave. That should have been a day's work, but if I tell you that that work dragged for like 5-6 days, we were hiring machinery so that this machinery could be used for this work, and that means we have to be paying extra and extra because this man is not finishing his work. One day he comes to me and he's like, I'm not in the mood to work. He hired the machinery at 12. He arrives at 4 in the evening and he's like, I'm not in the mood to work. And I just looked at him. I'm like, wow, interesting. And I'll encourage him and he'll be himself, right? Lo and behold, one of the good days, we start to have a conflict because he's saying, give me the money to pay for the machinery that we've been having for multiple days. I'm saying, you said you were not in the mood to work. You have not been finishing your work. So what are we gonna do? Guess what the man did? He went and fetched the police. Yes, I had the police called up on me. You can imagine me there standing, directing people, do this, do that, please. This is going right. This is going not the way it's supposed to be. And then I look up, lo and behold, I see 2 police officers walk in my direction. They walk over to me. And this is where my point is. You need to be like a gangster. You need to be feared. You must put the fear of the Lord in people. So when you see people employing tactics to intimidate you, they must never see fear in your eyes, right? In the face of trouble, what do you say? This is great. Because what? You have a backbone. And they come in, I greet them. Hello, officers. I have a conversation with them. You know, how are you? Pleasantries. And then from then on, they say, please tell us what is the matter. I said, I'm sorry, officer. I think, please be the one to tell me what the matter is, because I don't know what brings you here. So I can't speak on the matter not knowing what brings you here. Very brilliant police officers, polite people. Then they start telling me that this man says that you are hijacking machinery and you don't want to release it. And he has to take it back to the store and. Long story short, I explained to them what transpired. And then they listened, that they saw that there's gaps in this guy's story. And they told him, you're going to pay this woman back for the days you wasted her time. You're going to pay her back for the machinery, the money that she spent on the machinery. And then after you pay her back, you're going to do your job and finish your job. And then she would pay you. And I'm just cutting the story short for this video, but it was just different things that had transpired. But before he went to the police station, which was my idea, I'm the one who said, you know what, this matter would be resolved by the law. And that's another important aspect of being like a gangster, being the person who's strategic and tactical. You have to have the law on your side, and you have to have the law on your side by knowing the law and equipping yourself with the law, because when you have that lack of fear in your eyes, it will be because you know all the dots and you've connected them. You know all the blind spots. You know where the windows are, where everything is. So even in my interactions with the service provider, I had been making sure that my messages with him are accounted for. Our communication, there's a track record of it. And this was also the advice of my mom, because that's a person, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. That's a person who's very strategic and very tactical. So one of my mentors, she tells me, send messages so that you have track record of all the interactions. So when the police officers come, I said, my people, if I was in court, I'll say, my lord, but I'm not in court. I have the messages. I have everything. And that's gangster mentality. You've got to be 10 steps ahead. You have to calculate all the variables, the positives and the negatives. Know what can transpire successfully, what can transpire negatively. You need to know these things. Murphy's Law, it says anything that can go wrong would go wrong. So you have to make sure that you're 10 steps ahead and you calculate all angles. So I show them and they're like, you wronged this woman. You haven't done your work. And even just the amount of work that you needed to do is so little. You should be done by now. And that's what sparked the conversation today, because I was like, you know what? When you're an entrepreneur, you have to have a very strong backbone. Because if it was any other woman, young woman like myself, and they saw 2 police officers come by, they wouldn't be able to stand up for themselves. Plus, the service provider is also an elderly man. So it's a very intimidating tactic. But if you have a strong backbone, which is exactly what you need in entrepreneurship, because you're going to meet all types of people. You're going to meet all types of people. I'll tell you another story, I learned from my literature teacher, Mr. Armando. He likes to give stories and examples. Many years ago, when I was just starting off in entrepreneurship, I met this man called Mike. And this man frauded me of a lot of money. 15,000 was a lot of money for me at that time, for the young 23, 24-year-old me. And we were meant to start a marketing agency together. Only to find out that Mike was a fraudster. He had frauded other people, one of his friends' mom's pensions, I think there was a politician at that time. He had swindled him for like 1.2 million, million pula. You're gonna meet all types of people when you're an entrepreneur. And you don't have the time to be dealing with people's personalities. But when you are feared, when you put the fear of the Lord in people, they have no choice but to come correct. They would spiritually feel that when they come to serve in your realm, they have to come correct. What does it mean to be like a gangster? You have to be diligent. You have to be strategic. You have to do what you say you would do. People must look at you and be shocked and be surprised that, oh my God, this person said they're going to do this and they did it. They didn't just talk about it, they did it. And if every single thing that they say they would do, they do it, then you'd be afraid of that type of person, because you don't even know what they're going to do next. Because when they say they'll do something, they do it. So what are they capable of doing? And when I was having the interaction with the guy who's a paver on site, he wanted to go get the compactor and leave site without his work getting done or being done. He said he's done, he's not doing anymore. That time I'd paid him a huge amount of the deposit. His labor was 1.5, I'd given him 1,000. And that's another learning curve for me, because gangsters don't just release money. They release money when the work is done. They don't just release a huge amount of money. There's a lot of accountability with gangster mentality, because every penny is accounted for and it has to match the product. And he wants to go back inside to get the machinery. And I say to this guy, he's holding the property keys to access where the machinery is. And I say to this guy, I'm like, bring back that key. And he refused with the key. I was sitting in the car. I put the fear of the Lord in him, and I looked at him and I said, bring back those keys. And I got out of the car. At that point, he couldn't predict what was about to happen. Because what do you think? You see a sweet little girl, somebody that you could take advantage of and be, swindling of different things, because there was a lot of that he was doing on site as well. And I'm busy watching you because you don't know how I perceive things, but I can tell what you're doing. I've come across your type. Remember, when I started my entrepreneurship, I came across Mike. So I can tell these type of people when they show up. And because he couldn't predict what I was going to do, he gave me the keys. People must never see fear in you. People must never see weakness in you. When you're a gangster, you're a frontliner. You're not afraid of anything. And I'm not trying to say that people should be in bad activities. Hey. We're talking about entrepreneurship here. We're talking about the positives of gangster mentality. And this is not criminality we're talking about. We're talking about the codes that they have within these sobrieties that they have, or this communities that they build for themselves. There's a code. Gangsters work with code. There's a lot of discipline. There's a lot of structure. There's a lot of resilience. There's a lot of just lack of fear. And entrepreneurship needs that backbone, guys. And you're not just gonna have that backbone. You also have to have the diligence, the character, the discipline to follow up having that strong backbone. You can't be going around and just, chest out, head held high, and you don't have any essence within yourself to back it up with. You have to back it up. Do what you say you would do. Be diligent, be strategic, be disciplined, be loyal to the cause, have a code of operation, and make sure that you communicate that code to people. And even if you don't communicate it, make sure that they sense it. And that's the fear of it, because they know that a very solid person is walking here. Be like a gangster. When you're an entrepreneur, you would need that, and it'll take you very far. How do you cultivate that? How do you cultivate that strong backbone? Somebody's asking right now. What is your spiritual language? Know your spiritual language. And every single day, make sure that you speak your spiritual language. And never ever tell anybody what your spiritual language is. Because having a strong backbone is dependent on the integrity of your spirit and how it communicates with your human body. How do you sense your spirit? How have you cultivated your spirit? And how do you speak to your spirit? How do you interact with your spirit? Because the way that you interact with your spirit, that's your spiritual language. And you have to engage it more. Nobody should tell you that you should be sitting at a desk and working. Nobody should be telling you that you should be outside and doing this. You need to know what language builds your spirit. And talk in your spiritual language to yourself when you are by yourself. And that's how you build that backbone. So when you put the fear of the Lord in people, it would be because you've built your spirit and you've realized that in spirit you are pieces of God. I don't mean to take this into a religious bit. All I'm just saying is be like a gangster. Be strategic, loyal to the cause, have a code, and move in a way that people respect you. My name is Belsawa. Please give me your thoughts about what you think about this video. Like, share it with friends. If you enjoyed it, I know it's a bit off, but we're always talking entrepreneurship here. And entrepreneurship, these streets of entrepreneurship, hey, some people prefer heartbreaks over entrepreneurship, okay? So I'm just sharing my little 2 pieces when I'm moving out in these streets, so that you don't have to go through the things that I go through, because you already know that these streets move a certain way. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.